Video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games hosted by two very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Tommy Daslow, and joining me at the kitchen table, as always...
Ben Vanel here. Well, it's very apropos because I've been thinking about making a
apropos of something.
Yeah, exactly. I've been making a lot of tea lately. Sitting down at the table, having a little sip.
Yeah.
That's delicious. What's that fruit in there? I don't know, but it's really made me take stock of where I am in my life.
I'm looking at a fruit, all right. And when you say making tea, you mean spilling the gossip.
That's
that
right.
Kind of, you're talking about that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Tea.
Yep.
That's the tea.
Nothing related to any video games that we've been playing.
No, I haven't been playing any video games lately. Yeah.
But welcome into my kitchen. For people watching
you.
the video, we're now getting a different view of my house.
Yes.
The aim is to eventually have given the viewers a complete insight into every nook and cranny of this house.
Yeah,
We haven't filmed over there before.
No.
And, I mean, we've filmed in the boudoir before, but
yes.
not for public consumption.
No. That's behind the paywall. Patreon.com, Filthy Casuals Pod.
Yep.
No, you won't see any sexual content, but
No.
you'll hear a bunch of cool shit that we talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't, if you get on there, you'll get good content. You won't see us hitting the back paywall. Does that work?
Yeah,
That's
works
what OnlyFans
really
is.
well.
Yeah, that's hitting the back paywall.
Yes. Fuck. That
Not
should be
bad.
their slogan, yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. No, and I'm moving house, so the setup that we've been using filming at my place will also
Gone.
Totally change.
R.I.P.
Yeah, we won't be able to get
Never
in
to
there.
be seen again on camera, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, correct.
Yep.
I can assure that.
Okay. It would have to be an insane sequence of events for us to turn up back there again next week.
Yeah, well, this is a fun little tidbit. So the current place I live in, I've been there for a few years, moved in during COVID. Great place, love it. I had lived in that building once before.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. Yeah.
Like one of the second or third times, third places I'd lived outside of home. I was like mid-20s or something. I lived in the exact same building.
Yep.
On the ground floor.
Yep.
Exact same apartment layout.
Yep.
Like same, car park, all of that stuff.
Yep.
And
what was the gap between living in this building?
probably 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
That's so funny. I'd completely forgotten that.
insane.
But it's good because I remember like when you saw it come up and you kind of like, well, I know the lay of the land of the building.
Right,
Like, I
I know
like
the
living
area.
there because there
Yeah.
are so many things like when you move into a new place, the stuff that you end up being annoyed by is stuff that you could not have predicted, could not have
Yes.
really checked for in the inspection.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, the ceiling and the floors are so thin you can hear it, the footsteps of everyone walking around.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what I was in for.
I was just this morning walking past my old building.
Oh, yeah.
And the side gate that I would use to get in and out opened up as I saw a guy coming out. And I was like, I wonder if because that bit was like just for my apartment and like two other apartments.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, I wonder if this guy lives in my old apartment.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had this intrusive thought of like, should I try and just get in there and have a little look around through the window?
Man, like it's sometimes because my parents still live up where I grew up, and I will just for fun take a little side drive around like the house I grew up in, like 20 years, and their gates open, and I'm like, I can just go wandering, and I feel like I kind of
be able to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, this is actually my house, like.
Have I told you that my dad did that once? The first house that I lived in.
Yeah, right.
My parents had lived in others previous.
Okay,
but
okay.
this was the first one that I had ever been in. We had moved to another house, and then I don't know, a few years after that, we were driving past the old house, and we got out, and Dad knocked on the door, and the people were like, "Hello," and Dad's like, "We used to live here. Can we come and have a look around?" And they were like, "No." Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course that's not okay.
Yeah. Fuck.
It's not really how it works.
Was that the house that then got bulldozed and turned into some other building?
No, different one. Different one.
Okay.
I don't know if that first one is still there.
Yeah, because I can understand the impetus if he'd been like, look, we missed out on that other one.
Yeah.
I just want to get in there. But
Yeah.
you do still feel like a weird sense of ownership.
It's funny because I think every person on Earth on the other side of it, when it's somewhere they used to live, they would think that they should have the right to go and look around.
Yeah.
But when you're in your house, absolutely no way that any old freak. I don't even want the real estate coming in here.
Yeah. You're not looking at my fucking baby photos and stuff. Like,
I don't
what
want the
are you doing?
landlord or the real estate in here, and they have valid. Their job is to come and be in here.
Yeah.
Even them, that's a step too far for me.
Well, they're fucking vermin, so
They really are.
I don't allow
absolute
vermin
fucking
in
vermin.
my house.
Hey, folks, next week you can come and see me at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. And in fact,
you'll be allowed into that.
I would love it if you did so.
Yes.
Comedyfestival.com.au. Show starts on March the 26th, 7:30 p.m. at the Cooper's Inn.
That's the first week of the festival as well. A lot of people, they don't realise it's on. They just start seeing signs up and they're like, oh, I better look at... Tommy's on from the first week of the fest.
Yeah,
Get
first
in
day.
there. Yes.
First day of the fest until April the 6th. So you've got like 11 shows. Some of them filling up already. Would love to see some filth in there.
I've been party to a lot of this show's formulation. a lot of long conversation about. I can confirm it will be good.
Yeah. So can I think,
good.
at this point. Yeah.
Good.
We got a few things coming up. We got, if you want to come on Friday, what will that be? The 28th or 9th? Wednesday's the 26th, 27th, 28th, I guess. Friday the 28th.
Good counting.
I'm DJing afterwards at Trades Hall.
Oh,
if you want to
nice.
make a night of it and come do that.
So, yeah, Cooper's is just down the road from Trades. So, that's, I used to do shows at Trades Hall.
Yeah.
They set up a very nice little bar in there.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Or you could do April the 2nd, and you could kind of basically have the you could sort of follow me on my experience of that night, which will be doing my show, having a bit of dinner, going home, and then sitting up until midnight to watch the Switch 2 Direct.
Oh, yes.
Or you can come the next night on April the 3rd and converse with me afterwards about what I thought about the Switch 2 Direct.
We might have to do a little filthy meetup on April the 3rd.
Yeah.
Because I'll have a chat about it too.
Yeah,
I'll have some thoughts.
And there's a joke in the show about the Switch 2, which I may have to rewrite.
Yes. Yeah.
Come both nights.
I was going to say, probably come both nights and see if anything changes.
See if my mood, see if you can figure out what I thought of it just based on how the performance is different overnight.
But you can also make a night of the Coopers. There's a bunch of great shows there.
Heaps of great shows.
So,
Greg is on. Heaps of great shows on. But yeah, we got that reveal. That's really crept up. That's in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
There's been a report during the week, a bunch of analysts. I don't know who the analysts are like the video game journalism equivalent of like, you know, the trash mags.
Yeah.
They've always got the friends and family who are always commenting on who just in that context they just sound like a completely made up.
Yes.
Just someone at TMZ's wanted to write whatever the fuck they want. And it's like a source close to the family or whatever. Analysts are predicting that the Switch 2 could be the biggest launch of all time. They think there's between 6 to 8 million of the bastards ready to go.
Okay.
They are predicting a pricier price tag.
Okay.
Which I don't know.
It's kind of cost.
Yeah, he's kind of in line with inflation, but they're saying, and I guess this is from an American source, $3.99 and $4.99.
Okay.
Which would make it, you know, like getting up there. But
that is getting up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we've spoken about, it is more powerful sort of like proportionally than the other Nintendo consoles have been in their console generation. So that's great. And I'm sure a lot of people will just be trading in their current Switches.
I think they've got they never really had like a proper pro one. And so I think like the people that are going to go in day one, that the price tag doesn't matter to you. If you're someone that they're hoping to get early days, and the Switch one was like such a phenomenon culturally that it's cool to see them go like, we've got the leverage to be able to put a bit more tech into it, charge a little bit more. Yeah.
And yes, the messaging about like backwards compatibility has been really solid, and we know there's a bunch of stuff in the pipeline. So
I'm excited. This could change in the next couple of weeks, and this might be out there now. I just haven't really been looking for it, but it felt like in the lead up to the actual console reveal, we'd seen all these like patents and 3D printed mock-ups of the actual console, but we don't really know anything about the games other than the rumor is, oh, a new Mario Kart and a new 3D Mario, which...
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's cool that none of that is... The actual software and what we're going to see of that, none of that is really out there in a semi-confirmed way, which is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, just that footage from Mario Kart, which was in that console launch video that was like not explained at all.
Yeah,
people drew their own conclusions. There were like more players.
And that
on
was the
screen
most
and stuff.
that was just a bunch of carts whip. It didn't show you really anything about what the actual gameplay of it is outside of it just being a Mario Kart
exactly.
game. Which,
it could have just been Mario Kart 8 DX.
Yeah.
Like it could just have been like, oh, we bumped up, the graphics and more characters, but we are probably do assume that it's Mario Kart 9 and there's something interesting about it. A little twist. They always like to do it,
they
a
love
slight
a little twist. They love a little twist.
But yeah, there's so much stuff in the pipeline still. Metroid Prime 4, and then any potential future Zelda games.
Yep.
What else? A potential Donkey Kong game, just based on, contextual stuff that we've sort of been, spotting. Which I am excited to go to the Donkey Kong edition to Universal Studios Osaka. I'll be reporting, not live. You'll be
reporting.
Yeah, I'll be doing a roving report.
You'll be doing some reportage.
I will be doing some foreign correspondence stuff.
Foreign correspondence,
yeah. So very keen for that. And I will be missing out on... So we did get, at the time of the console launch video, there was a little thing about... some upcoming hands-on events around the world.
Yeah, which as soon as they did that reveal, you could apply to get a ticket.
Yep.
And I think, did you put in? I put in.
I didn't because I was... I already knew at that point that I was going to be in Japan. So...
I put in and did not get one. But
yeah.
I've since been invited to a hands-on media event.
That's right. That's the benefit of doing your own podcast for 10 fucking years.
Yes.
And we did get to go to the Switch One hands-on event.
We did.
And it was an incredible day. So you'll be doing your own hands-on roving reporting.
Yes.
From that. So yeah.
I'll be doing...
Don't unsubscribe from the podcast.
I'll be doing home soil correspondence.
Yeah. Local... You'll be doing an episode of Landline.
Yeah, like 10 News Bendigo, where they're just reporting on what happened at the chemist down the street.
Yeah. Win News, I think it would be in that case. Yeah.
So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone loves video games. It doesn't need to be...
All right.
You don't need to be a real human person to like video games.
Yeah.
Fictional characters can enjoy video games.
Absolutely they can.
For example... Jonah Hill's character from Superbad.
Yeah, he was mad for him.
Well, not that we'd know it.
Yeah.
Because there was a story during the week. Seth Rogen was asked about making Superbad, and
why was he asked about making Superbad?
I don't know in what context it came up in.
Maybe he was doing one of those like GQ retrospective, clips.
Yeah, no. You know what? I think it was a question about taking notes from a studio. That's what it was. He's got this new series on Apple TV Plus called The Studio, which is meant to be really good, actually.
Yeah.
And so they were asking him about like, have you had any notes that you've had to take on, or that are particularly interesting? And apparently, in the first draft of the script of Superbad, I think they wanted Jonah Hill's character to be playing PlayStation.
Yeah, right.
And Sony, because they were the studio putting out the film, they were like, this character is utterly repulsive.
Yeah.
We do not want him touching any of our products.
Okay.
And Seth Rogen's take on that was like, I mean, the character is sort of me at that age, so that's cool.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Sony, but you don't get to pick and choose who's a gamer.
Yeah.
In fact... Jonah Hill's character in Superbad, the ultimate gamer, in my opinion.
I think so.
A true representation.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I could have seen, like... You know how, like, Apple won't allow people to... Like, if they're a bad guy...
Bad guys aren't allowed to use iPhones.
Gotta be Android or non-specific.
Which I would think that... Surely you could make the counter-argument that... What that shows, if you let bad guys have iPhones, what that shows is that the reach of the iPhone is so massive that literally everyone falls under the umbrella of it.
Yeah.
It should at least it would make sense if they were like, okay, a bad guy can use an iPhone, but an equal number of good guys have to use the iPhone.
Yeah.
But to just be like, no, evil people don't use our phones. It's like,
I don't know if that's how buying stuff works.
It just makes your reach look more limited.
Yeah. But I mean, I would have honestly expected Jonah Hill's character. Is Evan?
It's
or is the other one Evan?
I guess the other one's Evan.
Ethan. I think they slightly changed their names.
Yeah.
But I would have thought Michael Cera's character could absolutely use a Sony PlayStation.
He could have. Yeah, for sure.
Give Jonah an Xbox.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Give him something.
Give him something.
Do they play games? I guess is there a scene like early on where they're playing a video game in someone's bedroom?
Man, I haven't seen it in a long ass time.
I think I rewatched it during COVID, and I had a good ass time.
I bet you did. What a cast.
Yeah.
Bill Hader, Seth Rogen as the cops. Yeah. Oh, brother.
McLovin. Wow. Remember the first time you saw that and he had the license and the name's McLovin?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to sort of, take it as part of the furniture now. But God, it's good stuff.
It went viral. Yeah. It really went culturally viral.
Would you call a movie going viral?
It was successful.
Something that people have paid millions of dollars to get into cinema screens around the world.
That's true. But we know the streamers pay people to quote unquote go viral.
That's true.
They have their teams of guerrilla social media warfare guys and girls. But I would have probably in that case just made him play an Xbox.
I get,
He's
but
a
that's
grubby
also
little grot.
People always talk about. They don't always talk about it.
Okay,
it's been talked about before.
Right,
I've seen it mentioned maybe 2 to 3 times. Is what I mean. By
Not
that.
like every day.
Not every day.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm sure if I tried to, I probably could come across that information every day.
Yeah.
If I made a bit of an effort to look for it,
you could put your finger on the scales as well and bring it up every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a thing where. A common tactic that you hear people talk about, if they're used to having fought with the studio system on films and TV shows and stuff,
yes,
you get some stuff in there that's almost like a bit of a distraction.
Yes, so it's so extreme, it's so over the top.
Yeah, you have your ones that you're like, well, let them have this because then it means that we get to keep this stuff in here that we are particularly fond of.
Yeah.
So I would imagine them going, no PlayStations. You're like, okay.
Yeah. I guess the period blood scene is skating on through.
If we're going to get to have the big montage of giant cartoon dicks over the end credits, then, please let us, are you sure we can't use the PlayStation? Oh, okay.
Yeah, legal's tied up with that.
Pretty easy one to let go of. And as is now, I mean, this is the funny thing is back when they made Superbad, the future is unwritten. And then 20 whatever it is years later, 20 years later, he's making a film about the studio system and getting asked about studio notes on a red carpet, and he has a banger story to wheel out.
Yeah, it's a good investment.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you know that I talk about that aspect of filmmaking every day.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
That's probably actually been a lot of the 3 times I've heard about it has been from you.
Yeah.
I've just happened to be around you at the time that you are talking about it on that given day.
Exactly, and we've only hung out 3 times.
Yes.
So
you've got a pretty big strike rate.
Yeah.
Because people might think that we've hung out more than that. People might think they have evidence of us hanging out more than that. But actually what that's been is they've been listening to me interacting with an AI of you.
Yes.
So there's been 3 legitimate of the nearly 500 episodes of this. 3 have actually featured you.
Yep.
And the rest have been an AI program.
Yeah, you just took the audio samples from those 3 real times and put it into like a machine learning AI. And you can just use that.
And every now and then we
text
do
to speech.
Yeah,
basically.
every now and then we do another in the room one.
Yeah,
real one, just to kind of like update the program. This isn't that.
No,
I'm probably not due for another 2 years.
No. This is generated from the last time that we did a real one, which if I'm remembering correctly, would have been the COVID episode with Nick Cody.
Yeah, that was the last time you were on. Yeah. And the Nick Cody was AI.
Yes, of course. Yeah, well, we got a lot of material to work with for Nick Cody. A lot of stuff being pumped out there of varying quality.
Yeah.
Now, why do you bring this up, Tommy?
Ark Aquatica.
Yes.
People love these Ark survival games.
They fucking froth them.
Yeah. And they put out a trailer for a new...
it's a DLC
It's
pack.
a DLC.
Yeah.
Ark Aquatica. This is not made by like the main studio.
Right.
That makes the base game.
They farmed this out to a little helper.
A team called Snail Studios.
Okay. And they've been presumably working on this for a long time.
Good shit.
Yeah.
Who needs the real guy? If the AI is this good. They put out a trailer for Aquatica. It's a
Yep.
new DLC. It's set underwater, and people were at first excited about this.
Mm.
Then they realized that the entire trailer, all the imagery, all of the voiceover has been done using AI.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, so we watched this.
Yeah.
There were some bits that were noticeable, sort of like some bits where like a little octopus comes out of the water and it just doesn't it looks similar to stuff that's more obviously AI.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly, if I would have noticed this if I was just watching it without... I wouldn't be watching a trailer with that much of a critical eye, thinking like, this might be AI.
Yeah.
Because I would also be thinking, well... it's not like this is like a proof of concept for a movie that you're yet to shoot.
Right.
Like you're making this video game.
Yeah, yeah.
So you should have these assets to just show off.
Yeah, yeah. And even
That's
if it
kind
was
of the whole point.
Like a CGI trailer, we've seen so many of them that are just like made by the team. Like
stuff that may or may not even be in the game. That's fine.
Totally, absolutely. So yeah, and maybe this is like us not being as attuned to AI stuff because I avoid it. You know, like I hate it. If it ever crops up on my like Instagram Explore page, I'm not interested in that shit. I fucking hate it. I don't like to see it. So, maybe we're just not as tapped in as like people who just watch fucking everything. Yeah, I mean, I just would
give it the benefit of the doubt and go, why would they put this trailer out and make it all in AI? And even so, that's one thing, but then also like the voiceover, not even being done by an actual person is like another layer to it where people are just like, this is so like weird and lazy.
Exactly.
Why not just get one guy to just...
Yeah.
If you can't afford that, then you also don't have to have a voiceover on the trailer.
Yeah. It
doesn't inspire much confidence. It's a very weird move. And it's, I don't know, is this stuff... We're in this kind of weird, like in-between point with this stuff where it's like, are they trying to do this in a way where they assume that people aren't going to be able to pick it up? Or are they doing it and assuming / hoping that people won't care? Like, when this stuff gets rolled out, it's like, what are we meant to be thinking here?
Yeah.
Like, what is your motivation in using this software to put this stuff out?
Yeah, because we know, even if it's a CGI trailer, we know that the people who made the game or people who are contracted by people who made the game have made that artwork. It's been overseen. Yeah. It's been, there's been a brief that has been followed to and tweaked. Yeah. Like, there's been a creative process that aligns with the game. It's nothing from the game. It's nothing made by people making the game. It is an AI cooking up a bunch of like underwater shit. Like, it has nothing to do with the game. So why make it?
Yeah.
Like, why make it at all, let alone of AI?
This is obviously getting into a much bigger conversation, but like all that stuff about how much power these things use up, and having just, not personally lived through it, but lived through the time of it happening of the LA wildfires.
The hurricane in the cyclone in North Queensland.
This stuff like
mid-Queensland.
We get told this, and then we are, not to say that, obviously this stuff happening is like a direct result of AI.
Right.
But it is all contributing. Like, we're able to see these real effects of these things that are happening, and we're being told that this is the effect. It's not even like previously where that information just wasn't as readily available to you. Yep. Like, we all know this, and just nothing happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's crazy.
We all know that smoking kills, and yet they've made a secondhand smoke trailer.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, it's shitty, and it's people, I think, not caring, right? It's just people who are making this being like, I don't care if this is bad.
But it's weird because, like...
I think that they also have to have assumed it would not be recognized as AI, because it's pretty...
That's crazy to...
pretty good. Yeah. I wouldn't have noticed it.
It's crazy to think you can get away with it, or that people won't care or notice. Yeah. Like, if you've spent any time on the internet, like if this was being made by a bunch of 70-year-olds who just don't understand, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But
they're like, it's the same as CGI. I don't understand.
Especially if you work at a games company, like you're on the internet a lot. You know how people react to stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even say that you're in enough of a bubble where you just weren't prepared for the reaction. Like, it just seems nuts with these things that no one steps in and goes, hey, we are going to cop it for this.
Yeah.
I I don't understand. It's bizarre.
I'd love to hear them respond because we've just read the story that has pointed it out and people have noticed it, but I don't think that they've commented. And I know that there are a lot of freaks who like AI, and there's like big Instagram accounts that just do generative AI like characters and shit like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of the comments even on those, when those were coming up in my feed, were like AI trash. AI trash.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
make something yourself. AI shit.
I think I've sent you this. It's I think it's, I haven't paid attention to it for a while. I don't know if it's out there yet what it actually is. But there's this really weird account called, I think it's called Studio Shibuya. And it's this fake clothing brand.
Yep.
And it'll put up these pictures, and it's kind of, it's meant to be like it's this this lost kind of old clothing brand, and they'll put up pictures of like jackets and shoes and stuff that look incredible. They're like insanely good clothing.
Yes.
And I came across it and was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to buy all of this. And it's like, it doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
But there's also no like information about like what it actually is. Like, is it just someone's art project? Is it building up to being like, here's a launch or an exhibition or like what is this?
Yeah, is this concept
and
stuff?
then because of the way it kind of looks, there was a bit of speculation that it was like some kind of AI-based thing, and I was like, oh no, that's going to be such a drag.
Yeah.
But it all looks good enough that it's like, it's got that thing to it where you can tell that there's a bit of human element going into it.
Right.
There's a bit of human design element going into it where... It's just that last little bit of finessing to make it look like a real shoe rather than just like someone's like photoshopped mock-up or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, like, I say this a lot when we talk about AI, but it's tough because there are little things that I was talking to someone about this the other day, like editing clips for Instagram and having to do like keyframes to take something from the perfect widescreen format that we've all become accustomed to and squish it into the vertical layout, which looks trash.
Yes.
And it's just, you just waste so much time sitting there and cutting back and forth between things and fucking editing it at a second time.
Yeah.
For a clip that goes for 40 seconds, that's probably going to get 8 views or whatever.
Sure.
And if you could hit a button and have an AI go bang, 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 great. That's a great use of AI. That's even though then you get into the thing of like, well, editing is still someone's job. So you're cutting someone out. And unfortunately, you can't opt in to a little bit of it without sort of endorsing and training all of the rest of it, you know? Like the stuff where you just hit a button and get the legwork taken care of for you of the like little nitty gritty jobs that no one wants to do.
Right.
Unfortunately, that is all part of the same program and world as the, like, hey, we don't want to pay Samuel L. Jackson to be in our ad, so we'll just use this program.
Totally, yeah. We'll have a fake voiceover guy who doesn't exist and a bunch of squids and coral.
Yeah.
Which, again, like the problem, one of the many problems with AI is that it is drawing on existing assets without getting permission to, you know, like
that totally.
There's a bunch of stuff like maybe it's public domain photos of oceans from like National Geographic 100 years ago. Yeah, but maybe there's it's drawing from people's like personal Flickr accounts and photos and illustrate like it's just
and again like not to go too broad, but like
we're on our soapbox, Tommy. You're allowed to go fucking broad as you want.
It's like conversations like this and about like, is cancel culture bad for comedy? It's like all this stuff is a fucking distraction. You know what I mean? It's like the earth is actually fucking burning. There are all these things that we like actually need to do something about. And so much of our time and mental energy gets wasted by like, is it ethical to get a computer to write a script?
Yeah.
No. End. The end. Yeah. No, it's not. The end.
No. The same people who are driving AI are the ones that are doing a bunch of pollution with other industries that they are involved in. Yeah. They just want to make money. We need to get them.
Yeah.
And really give them a good old seeing to.
We all need to work together, like the way that you and I have been working together in Split Fiction.
Oh, yeah.
There's now a second episode up of us playing through the co-op in that. Having a fucking great-ass time with that game.
It is such a, again, similar to It Takes Two, the action, the set pieces, and all of that stuff is so creative.
Yep.
It's really unlike anything that I've seen before. with co-op gameplay, but also just like action platforming and
The
combat.
pacing of it just really clocks along.
It's whipping along. We're only about maybe a fifth of the way through, I think.
Yeah, I think we've done two 90-minute
something like that
sessions. Yeah.
But really fun. The less said about the writing in that, the better. It should have been done by AI. No,
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's
a great game
about the style of it where it I don't know. It's a little corny and whatever, but it kind of suits what's going on, honestly.
Yeah. And I think we're just getting into a bit more stuff of the characters are questioning each other, why have you, because they're both writers in the game.
Yeah.
So it's why have you written this story? Is this related to something?
Yeah.
They're no, not. So I feel like that will be the more interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also, obviously it's built for this, a great game to just play with someone else and chat to the person you're playing with.
Right, for sure. I think it's a little, I wouldn't say to the level of Marvel, but it's kind of quippy, but in just the right way, because it's you're sitting on the couch next to a friend,
right?
You're playing it in a very lighthearted way. It doesn't need to be something that's Last of Us level where you're really locked in and focusing in on it. Yes, you are going to be chatting to each other heaps, and
it's beneficial that the game story, or at least the stuff that you're playing to, that the characters have written, is sort of generic. You don't have to really pay that close attention.
Yeah.
But it is fucking fun as hell to actually play.
I'm really excited to see new stuff that comes up. We had some motorbike chase stuff that we just did. It's still throwing out these kind of new concepts. We went into a fantasy world where we're shape-shifting.
Very cool.
Yeah, and they find a really good balance between in each area, and this is the same of I think this was in A Way Out, but certainly in It Takes Two, each of you has a different ability,
right?
And neither of you ever feels they got the fun one, and I'm sort of sitting around here doing fuck all. They do a really good job of making sure that you're both always doing something fun, going back and forth. Where there are a lot of points where one of you's having to kind of sit there and wait for the other person to do their thing, but then it flips it does. The balance of who's doing what is really well handled.
Yeah. And potentially, if we play it well enough, we could uncover a little secret hint as to the next game by Hazelight.
This is cool.
Yeah,
this is apparently if you beat it on... What is it, some kind of hard mode, or if you get some sort of...
I think so, or maybe the level itself is just incredibly hard. So it's
some final challenge thing.
Yeah.
You get a little sneak peek at their next game.
Yes, which I don't know what that is, so we'll never be able to uncover it ourselves.
No.
So we'll just watch it on YouTube. But yeah, I think there was also a bit of an interview with Joseph Fares, who is the director, who was yep, we're already working on it.
That's great.
We're buckled down. We're in development, which,
remember when that Bayonetta spin-off came out?
Yes.
And it turned out there had been a demo level of it hidden in Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
8 months before or whenever that had been.
Which no one commented on, I don't think, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think maybe some people had found it. I don't know if it necessarily said that it was hey, this is from an upcut. It was just you would unlock it and play it and be that's a kind of a weird side thing that's in there. And then it turns out, obviously, this is so hard to do in games. When the Marvel movies were doing it kind of at their peak, the thing of the movie ends and then you get a little teaser of what the next thing is going to be. That's cool. Obviously, it's so hard to do that with games because they wrap and then they need to figure out, the idea of having overlap of knowing exactly what you're going to do next is...
And having, the visual style and
having enough of it to go to, put in there is a big ask. But, the idea of, a hidden little preview of something. I mean, a company like Nintendo, who all their stuff is, they're the one overseer of all this stuff and their different properties. Having a little random... I don't know, you find a TV in Donkey Kong and you play a level from the new Star Fox that hasn't been announced yet or something like that.
Totally.
Because they used to do it, the Animal Crossing games you could get, and it's in the Yakuza games as well, you get a master system where you can play the old games, but it would be cool if just randomly in there you could find a little thing that's a sneak peek, one level of something that's not even been announced yet would be sick.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yes, it is. Yeah, You finish all those super hard levels in Super Mario Wonder.
Yep.
And then there's literally just, 10 seconds of you walk. It doesn't have to be, a significant level. Just like, oh, what is this
little
environment?
Teaser.
What is this? What's that power up that Mario just got? Like,
Put more shit into video games that sound like something someone in year 3 made up.
Yeah,
totally. Like, if you finish it without dying, you get to in Mario, you get to play as Sonic.
Yes.
There should be like more stuff like that sounds like an 11-year-old made it up.
Totally. We've gone too corporate. It's all a business now.
Yeah.
But Joseph and his team and his Technicolor Dreamcoat, he's still got that sense of like wonder and play, and it's fucking cool.
To go back a little bit, you know what would rule? I think, actually, I haven't gone in on this yet or read too much about it, but a week or so ago, they put another couple of levels into Astrobot.
Oh, yeah.
So this Seth Rogen story, it's been a big, it's really gotten a lot of heat.
Yeah.
If they just turned around, little Jonah Hill robot.
Yes.
Little Jonah Hill, little Astrobot level where you're at that house party that they go to.
Oh, brother.
You unlock a little Jonah Hill at the end.
Yeah, that's sick.
That'd be McLovin bot. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, McLovin bot.
Yeah.
The little Seth Rogen cop bot with the little goatee or whatever he's got. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I've been McLovin this week.
Okay. And you are dressed kind of like McDonald's.
What the fuck's that supposed to mean?
The colours you're wearing.
Oh, sure.
Get on the YouTube video, people at home. You'll know what I meant.
have been playing a little game called Wanderstop.
Yeah.
Which was not on my radar at all. I all of a sudden saw it getting rave reviews. Looked into it. I did remember seeing the trailer in something.
Yeah.
Because it's a guy that worked on, or the guy that made the Stanley Parable.
Yeah.
And
which I played. Did you play that?
I played the very beginning of it.
Sure. That's the narrator being like,
Yeah.
and then Jimmy went down the hallway, but it gets more and more convoluted, and it starts to essentially fuck around with the idea of games.
Yeah.
That was the whole, that was the thing of that.
Yeah, so I didn't have like a particular attachment to that game, and this looked visually kind of cool, but it being cozy games are sort of in that zone for me now of, I think, what like Metroidvanias are to a lot of people.
Sure.
Like such a overused, it's kind of a shame. You make one and it's just, I think it's kind of more of like a damaging catch-all term than it is necessarily like representative of a genre.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the 2D pixel art platformer for a while.
Yeah.
Where it was like, okay, so like a few of these came out and they were successful because they were different to everything else.
Yeah.
And now it has become such a trend that, it's a bit
It feels like a shorthand and like a little bit dismissive as well. Like, it's another cozy game where you sort of, there are no I think that's the thing. It started to really lean into that thing of like, hey, there's no story. You just kind of pick it up and you decorate your house and,
a short hike. It's like, you just kind of go up a hill.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of them tend to feel very like they're just... almost like this sort of, I don't know, not tech demo, but just like a kind of mindless. I don't know. It kind of feels very reductive for a lot of them that do have a lot more going on under the hood. And have been made with a lot of like care and have something to say and do have actual things that you're doing in there.
Yes.
But the idea that like even just something about the term just makes it sound like, oh, just you just want to switch off and not have to really do anything, and there's nothing really going on in this game.
Because a lot of the fun of games for a lot of people, and especially growing up with games, the fun was the challenge.
Yeah.
You want to be satisfied by overcoming a challenge, and yes, cozy game as a title almost implies like there is no challenge.
Well, and feeling like you have that progression too, even if it's not challenging. Like, something like Animal Crossing, which is I guess what all of these are replicating. It's still got the thing of like, Tom Nook will give you a little thing where you're aiming to do this and then you're aiming to do that and you're aiming to ultimately get the town nice enough that KK Slider comes to it. Like there are these
goals.
You have these little objectives that you're working towards, even though you can't die, but there still is like a reason that you're turning the game on each night and trying to make progress towards.
Yes.
And the ones that I really fall off are the ones where it's like, I think a lot of them get made, especially in the indie space, that are just like completely open-ended, where it's like, hey, here's your town, just make your house nice, and that's that.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is an example where it does have like a little bit of a story, not in a massive sense, but there is like a conceit to you turning up. So you're running a tea shop in this game. You're a warrior who is undefeated, and then all of a sudden you start losing battles.
Yep.
You're burnt out. You are running through this forest. You pass. You're like trying to find this
trainer
who's like this legendary person who's gonna like show you the way and get you back on track.
Yep.
You pass out in the forest, and then you wake up in this clearing where there's this little tea shop and this little guy called Borrow.
Borrow, yeah.
who's this wide bald little man.
Yeah.
Who's very sweet. He's
Yep.
very nice. And he's like, I just kind of found you, just passed out in the woods.
Yeah.
Why don't you just kind of take a break? And you're like, fuck up, idiot. I am on that grind.
Yeah, I have to get to the master trainer.
I have to be the best.
I
You
have to be the best.
Working every minute of the day to be any good.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of can't escape. You try to do that, and you just keep passing out.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor that's very on the nose, but that's fine. And then he kind of like puts you to work in his tea shop.
Yeah.
Sort of shows you the ropes, and then people start kind of coming into the clearing, into this sort of little, because you've got like the tea shop, and then you've got the grounds around it where you've got your kind of tea bushes where you're getting the leaves from. You've got your little garden patch where you're planting different fruits to put into the teas. You've got various other little bits of gardening around there that you can do, and you've also got a little gate out back into the forest that you can choose to go through at any time. And you've also got like your sword that is in the middle of this sort of sitting area,
which you can't pick up. That's the issue.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
it's just there. You're unable to hold it, and these two things at any point you can go and have another crack at them. And your character is called Alta. Won't be able to do it. And so you kind of go through these waves where people come through. You kind of talk to them a bit. They tell you what kind of tea they want. You're doing getting your seeds, planting your little bushes. Then when you've got your bushes planted, you can arrange them in a little pattern.
Yes,
you have bigger trees that have different fruits on them.
You've got your sort of like little manual encyclopedia that's like that. Yes, you add basically recipes to for like plants and stuff over time. Where it's like, hey, if you plant it in a triangle formation, you get this. If you do it in a line, you get this
color in a triangle.
Yeah,
make these two colors next to each other. Make this.
Yeah, and
then. As you get further on, you get like mushrooms and stuff, so you can like plant this like mushroom that changes the color of the tree, which changes the fruit. So people are coming in and they're giving you, it's pretty simple stuff, but they're giving you a little bit of a riddle about like, I'd really love a tea that kind of makes me feel like this, and then you kind of have to look through your field guide of like what different the fruits and kind of the effects that they have on people.
Yep.
And you've got your little mechanism of the tea machine.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really fun.
Yeah.
You're on this like ladder that kind of swivels completely around, 360 around the tea machine.
You got to like pump in some water.
Fill it with water. Then you got to heat the water. Then you throw your ingredients in. Then you hit a valve. Then you like pour the tea. I did one where I forgot to heat the water.
Oh, yeah.
I brought this guy his cup of tea and he was like, man, this is cold. What the fuck's this?
This is not hot tea,
It
brother.
tastes like shit.
Yeah,
It's just some water with some stuff floating around in it.
But then you just do it again. You can't. I don't think there's a way to like fully fail out of anything.
No, it's interesting. Like I've seen it kind of talked about as simultaneously, for me anyway, it's got a bit more going on than a lot of these kind of cozy games do.
Sure.
I really like this sort of progression of like having a point where you're trying to get out of this clearing, but also like clearly having to like learn this lesson about burnout and about going slow. And it is also simultaneously like a total cozy game where you don't have like a stamina wheel. You don't have a like time limit for getting people their tea. If you get the wrong thing, they'll just let you try again. There's no day-night cycle. Like you have to wait for the tea leaves to dry out when you put them in the little basket. But apart from that, it really is just like you really can fuck around and completely go at your own pace.
Yeah.
Decorate the garden. You can You can just make just random mugs of tea to drink yourself.
Yep.
Give them to other people.
Yep.
So it's very unpressured in that sense, but then also has this kind of thing of like, yeah, what's going on here? Is she? Because there is also a bit of a mystery where some of the people are turning up, and then they've got this like, this sort of virus thing that's like consuming them, and then they'll sort of all of a sudden stop talking to you. So it's like, what's going on with them? Yeah, I'm really liking it.
Yeah, I think that this is a very Tommy game.
Yeah.
I think that it, and it will for a lot of people, philosophically resonate big time.
Yeah.
I think it's a lesson that some people don't know they need to learn.
Yeah.
That it's good that it kind of is overt about it, like you said. But I think for people who've sort of like figuratively experienced what is happening, it is going to feel very rewarding to play.
Yeah. I think too, like the main thing for me, I really like the music in it.
Music's great.
The art design of just like the environment, the colors in it are very nice. Like it really does have that thing of like, and again, especially like this week, being a bit stressed and a bit busy, just sitting down at the end of the night, putting it on for like an hour or so, and just kind of running around. And it's not even like with like something like Animal Crossing even, you have a lot of different stuff that you can be doing. You're like fishing, you're chopping down trees.
Yes.
This is pretty much just like gather your tea leaves.
Yeah. Something like, because it's sort of, like you said, it's derived, it exists because Animal Crossing exists. It exists because Stardew Valley exists. But those are real like plate spinning games.
Yeah.
Like you can't die. There's no one coming in to attack you with a sword. But there is a lot of stuff that if you want to like quote unquote optimize it.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you can be doing. You got to tick stuff off as each day rolls around. All of that stuff can mount up to be quite a lot of shit you got to do in this otherwise relaxing game.
It's because it's like and it's slowly introducing more stuff, but it is still fundamentally like quite simple.
Yes.
Even if you're like, oh, I need this fruit for this thing and I don't have that seed yet. Like there's one around.
Yeah,
like it's not hard to like get the stuff that you need and put it together. And then even when you're like waiting for the tea leaves to try it, it doesn't take too long.
No. You
can just kind of walk around and I don't know. I think I'm like maybe 5 hours in. I'm kind of tempted to see it through to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I am really enjoying it. It still is like this style of game for me. I'm feeling myself sort of start to get a little bit to the limit of like, I'd kind of like some other stuff to do now.
Yeah, and I think that is probably okay, right? Like, I don't think that the makers of this game are like, you have to play this game every day until you fit. Like, it should be, I think, one that you just pick up and play when you feel like a bit of a chill game.
Yeah, I like that it's got this sort of story to it rather than just like, oh, I've turned up in a village and here's my new house.
Yeah.
It's cool that it's got a little bit more going on under the hood, and like the characters that come and visit you are all like, you know, pretty cutely done. Like they've all got their own little personality and little backstory to them. They're all varied enough. Your little guy who's Borrow, who's like your little mentor. He's funny.
He's
like
great.
He's great. He's just always like kind of prowling around. And then you're getting all this sort of optional stuff. Like you've got a little camera.
Yep.
Where you can take photos. You're like you're constantly finding little trinkets and stuff that you can decorate the house with. It's cool. It's like it's one of those. It's funny because there'll be like there's the early wave of a style of game, and then people get kind of burnt out on it, and then there's like the next kind of crop. There's like one that all of a sudden comes along and stands out by doing something just like even slight like 5% different or in a unique enough way that it kind of I feel like this has gotten a lot of attention just for
subverting it a little
doing
bit,
a couple
right?
of little things like differently enough and kind of having something to say too, which is interesting.
Yes, I think I think maybe it was Triple Click that I was listening to where, you know, I think part of the reason that you kind of have to praise this kind of game is that maybe it was the Besties. I don't know. It was some podcast I was listening to. is that it has
Filthy
a message.
Casuals?
Yeah, it was Filthy Casuals video drone where they talked about severance.
Yeah, sure.
No, someone was saying, I forget who, sorry, that the fact that this game has a philosophy behind it, full stop, is worthy of praise.
Yeah.
In video games,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's pretty rare.
It's very, like, yes, there are interesting stories and, you know, like emotional moments and characters that are really well written, but it is just rare that a game has a philosophical contention that is sort of part of the game's fabric. And
and also
it's
in
cool.
like a very meta way of like
Right.
a game that's about burnout, when like playing a game is something that you should be doing like guilt-free as a relaxation thing to combat as in your leisure time, to combat like
burnout in
burning
your
out
work
and,
life or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's great. I also like the Stanley Parable for that. And neither of them are, like you say, games that you necessarily want to, you know, absolutely cane and rinse, you know, for 20 hours and, you know, get everything out of them. Because, yeah, I feel like once you connect to that philosophy and you have a bit of fun, that's all you need out of that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a lot about the style of it that I really like. Like the mechanic of just getting up on that tea machine. I really like. Like the way that the ladder swivels around.
Very fun and fluid,
The sound of the water kind of trickling down. It's kind of like I find all of that really satisfying and nice, and all the like little sound design of like planting a tree and that coming out.
Yeah.
That's the thing with a lot of these games. Like I love Animal Crossing, and then other games that are doing sort of a similar thing, but stylistically just don't gel with me as much. It's like you know, with something like this, it's so down to whether you like the package, because it's not like the mechanics are sort of a side thing to just vibing out. Running around and vibing out.
I think they nailed it with Borrow as well. I think he's such a good like mentor character. Borrow. He rules. So Wanderstop. Give it a crack. Console and PC, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's on everything but Switch.
Right.
Because I recommended it to a friend of the show, Josh Earl, because his wife got really into Animal Crossing.
Oh, sure.
And he was asking me, is there something that's kind of comparable? And I was like, I mean, there are, but none of them that I've played that have really like stuck with me in the same way.
Yeah.
And I messaged him to say, you know what? This was actually a while ago that he'd asked me that.
Right.
And I was like, hey,
sorry about the really, really delayed reply.
I was like, I found one. And he's like, it's her birthday next week. I'll get it from the kids to give to her as a gift. So, hey, apologies, Josh Earl's wife, if you listen to this and you've had your birthday surprise ruined.
Yeah. But thanks for listening. I played...
Weird that it's never come up. Weird that Josh has never been like, even though my wife, the only video game she's ever played is Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
She does listen to the show every week.
Every single week, including the reviews, not just the news stuff.
Yep.
I played this on PC with a gamepad. It's recommended for controllers.
I've been playing it on the deck. It runs very nicely on the deck.
Yeah, it looks great. Like you said, give it a crank.
Yeah. You been playing anything else? Wanderstop's been it for me. I thought I would just... it really felt like a thing where, you know, sometimes you see that something's getting really good reviews, but you're still kind of like, I don't know. I guess I'll get it on Steam, and then they're like their returns policy is pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I still feel like I'm going to bounce off it pretty quickly, but let's see. And just like, I don't know. I feel like these games too, especially like the getting in and the learning, like, hey, here's how you put all this stuff together.
Yep.
I was just fucking in.
Yeah,
just drawn
nice.
in all week to it.
Yeah. I think I did. I told you. Like, I was mirroring the main character initially, where I was like, fucking hurry up. Let me get to the game.
Yeah.
But, it's really fun and relaxing, which, like you said, been a stressful week. You know, a lot of shit going on, so it's been cool to dip into that. I don't think I've played anything else new.
Apart from the 90 minutes that we played of Split Fiction. That's taken up a lot of our time at the moment too.
Yes. And I've packed everything that I own away into boxes except my PC. So I don't think so.
So wait, you've just got a PC in an otherwise empty apartment at the moment?
That's correct.
That rules. You got to take a photo of that. That's the real, like, dudes will see this and think, hell yeah.
Yeah, true. I'll see what I can do.
I'll see what I can do. Yeah, I'll see if I can figure out how to take a photo.
Yeah.
Might be beyond me.
Yeah. No, I've definitely been playing a bunch of old stuff. And I really want to finish Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yeah,
I really
me
want
too.
to finish that off. I want to finish, or at least play a bunch more Monster Hunter Wilds, because I have also been really enjoying that. But I will, pending me being able to set up all of my stuff again, I'll be playing Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Oh.
Because that is getting pretty good reviews.
Okay. Is that out? That's this week, right?
I think it must be out this week. It's the review embargo, I think, was within the past 24 hours.
Okay.
So a lot of positive stuff, a lot of like, fucking yeah, finally it's an actually good one, not just like good for an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, okay.
So,
interesting.
yeah, a lot of like, it's really good they held off on diving into this era and part of the world, because like I remember people were asking, for this after the first Assassin's Creed game. So yeah, a lot of it has been very, very positive.
Okay.
I have been burnt before, though. I'll be buying this on a physical disc so I can return it if I need to.
Yep.
But I reckon I'll be giving that a crank for next week.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do us for another week. Thank you for joining us, everyone. filthycasuals.com.au for all the stuff we have. Get on the YouTube and check out the playthrough of Split Fiction that we're doing.
Yep, very fun.
Get onto the Patreon. Get a bonus episode every week.
Yeah.
And that's going to do us for now. We'll see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals,
Can I have a cup of tea?